Alright, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know it's been a while since I've done a video, but I have been reading, so let's get into what I've been reading. Well, actually before that, my reading goal for the year is 12 books a year. 12 books within the year. So far I have 3, and we're going into April. Calendar's over there, so I'm looking like I might be able to get this. Okay, first book is Jazz by Toni Morrison. So I read this, I finished this like a month ago, something like that. And what do I think about it? I think a lot of this book went right over my head, honestly. It's like her writing style is really poetic and figurative, and I think it's more of an advanced book for me, honestly. Because like I said, I'm new to fiction. I've read a lot of nonfiction. That's what's on my shelf behind me, is a bunch of nonfiction. So I need to read this a second time to really be able to discuss the themes and really make sure I'm understanding everything. But I really did enjoy her writing style. It's very different from the authors I've read so far, because it's not so straightforward. It's very, like I said, it's like just very pretty style of writing. It's very figurative and creative. So I'm gonna give this a second read. For now, I'm gonna put this on the shelf because it is a book that I read. So that's going on the shelf. Now, the book that I'm gonna review is Wisterman. So this was a personal recommendation, and gotta tell you, it did not disappoint. I really enjoyed this book. This is by Alex North. First book from him. So, just quick synopsis. I was gonna read the back, but that's a lot of words. So, basically, you have the main character Tom and his son move to this new town after his wife passes. But when he moves to this town, there starts to be, there's a kid is kidnapped, and it seems like the kid that's kidnapped, the crime fits another crime that was committed 20 years prior by someone who's in jail, and his name is the Wisterman. Hence the Wisterman. And so and eventually Jake is also, his son is abducted pretty early in the book, not too much of a spoiler. And so now law enforcement and Tom are trying to figure out where he is, and they're trying to figure out why this crime is so similar to the crime that was committed by the Wisterman 20 years earlier. So you're wondering what the connection is between the current crime and the past crime. Why they're so similar, and that's kind of the story on his face. So what do I like about it? One, again, the pacing. And I know earlier the last review was on Needful Things, and I said I really like the pacing of this book, and I do. Same thing with this, with Wisterman. I love the pacing. And actually on the back of the book it says, if you like Stephen King, you'll probably like this book and Alex North's writing style. And in that way they're similar. I did like the pacing, but what is different is, from what I read from Stephen King, he really just takes his time with the characters, and he just, instead of just focusing on the plot moving forward, he just gives you a chance to interact with the characters, watch them just live their life, and you're just kind of like a fly on the wall, just enjoying them interact with other characters and kind of getting you immersed in the world. I kind of like Tarantino. Like, if you guys like Tarantino, I love Tarantino. And one of the main reasons is, when I'm watching the movies, it feels like I'm just with the characters, just hanging out with them. I'm not really thinking about the plot. It's just fun to listen to the characters have a dialogue. And that's kind of like what you get with this. Excuse me. That's what you get with Stephen King. This is not like that. This is much more like, from the very first page, like, they don't waste any time. The plot is moving, 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 moving. It's very fast paced in that way. But the characters are still developed. I wouldn't say they're as developed as like some of the Stephen King that I've read, but they're developed enough for you to be like invested in them. What else do I like? It's unclear there's a supernatural element to this book. You don't really know until the very end, which is really cool. Like, it's like you're not, is it not? And so I always like what I'm guessing. I like them give me just enough information and clues, but not enough for me to make a definitive draw a conclusion. That's fun to me. So I like that. Themes. So this is the whole point of the channel. Themes and things. So themes. So thematically, there's some really cool themes in here. And for me, and again, this is just my personal opinion. I don't like not looking like online to see okay what they said. Does that match up with what I think? Whatever. But for me, a lot of a really big theme in this story is parenting and how do you parent as a flawed person? Because so Tom obviously is Jake's dad, and the whole family's been through a lot with his wife passing. But not just that, but Tom also had things in his childhood that have made it difficult for him to be an effective parent, and that he's still trying to resolve. And so throughout the story, he's trying to communicate with his son, connect with his son. But how do you connect when you can't connect with yourself? You know, how do you connect with your kids when you really can't fully connect with yourself? You can't really process your own life and your trauma. And then what could happen is you could pass it on. And that is also demonstrated in the story, how you can pass on trauma in a really cool way. But I don't want to spoil that. But let's say all the characters, most of the main characters, are dealing with this theme of trying their best to connect with their kids and their family. And some fail, some care, some don't, but it all affects the kids. That's kind of my theme, or my take on the theme of the story, and I really appreciate that, because you look at this and it's okay, it's a murder mystery or whatever, or thriller suspense, but it's really a family story. It's really a family story. It's not super scary to me. I don't think it's super scary or whatever, but it's has some tense moments. But for the most part, it's just suspenseful and interesting, more grounded. And so there's some lines in the story too that some main characters say that are not paid off to like the very last page. So that's pretty cool. So they really pay you. They really reward you for paying attention. I guess I should say that. So that's my looking down here because my notes are down here. But that's what I think about Whisper Man. Really enjoyed this, and so hopefully I'm working on a new book, reading a new book right now for this month. I'll probably finish that in the next couple weeks, and if I like the themes, I think they're interesting, then I'll discuss them, and hopefully you guys think they're interesting too. So I appreciate you guys taking time to listen and watch the video. So all right, I'll catch you guys next time.